Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. So today's video going to be talking about GPU mining and why everybody's so excited about it, right? So we're going to talk about all the good things happening and some things to be realistic about, right? So we're going to go into different things and just give an overall update on GPU mining and what's going on. That way we can see what's up. So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned, all right? So let's get to it. So it's been looking good, right? If we go on hashrate.no, we look at profitability. Let's look at this 4090, 273 a day profit from one GPU. Okay, pretty nuts. Although it's kind of not fair because the majority of us are not mining on a rig of 4090s, right? Some of you guys may have purchased one just to game on and be able to mine on, and it's looking good for you there, right? But for the majority of us, 10.5 3070s, 3060 Ti's. So even with a single 3070 at a 10-cent kilowatt hour, NEXA is currently profiting about 60 cents a day. Okay, doesn't sound like a whole lot because it's one GPU, but once we do a whole rig, it's about $7.20 profit a day. Okay, which is not bad considering what it's been recently. What has me more bullish, or the most bullish, and why I started mining a few weeks ago, is the fact that it's not just because of one coin that's pumping, or it's not just because of one pump and it's profitable for a day. There is a multitude of coins that are profitable, and this is what has people excited. Okay, and the one that's been pumping the most has been KASPA. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And that's not even the one that's the most profitable right now. It's actually NEXA. Okay, but this is what has me excited is the fact that we have options and it's not just one. The problem if it's just only one, what's going to happen? Everybody jumps on that one coin, so the difficulty goes up, profitability goes down, right? The fact that there's so many avenues and so many options, it's going to spread that hash around, right? And it's going to make more coins profitable. Okay, because the key point for me here and the reason why I kind of waited longer than most was I wanted to jump in once it's profitable, period, even on a downtrend. Okay, we had that one slight downtrend a few weeks ago, and that's when I mentioned that's when I started mining. Okay, as long as it's profitable, even if it's only 10 cents per card profitable a day, I'm good with that. As long as it's cheaper for me to mine it than it is to buy it, I'm good with that. Okay, and that's kind of the expectation you have to have for the bear market. Okay, even though things are looking good right now, we're not going to have those ETH kind of numbers. So you got to really temper your expectations. But you're kind of going under the guise that you're like speculating in a sense, right? So you're getting at this coin, it's maybe only 10 cents right now, but you're speculating on the fact that it's going to be worth more in the future if your plan is to hold, right? Everybody has different strategies. Some mine and they take profits and they cut their electricity out from there. Others, like me, for example, whatever I'm mining, I'm coming out of pocket on the electricity and I'm holding all the coins. Because to me, that's really the go to play right now. Okay, because of the fact that hopefully in the future, it goes up quite a bit more. And this way I'm able to accrue more. Okay, so when things weren't profitable, right, when it was like even just slightly unprofitable, I wasn't mining, but I was still buying these coins as if though I were mining. Okay, because part of my strategy was the only small cap, like really small cap coins I'm accruing right now are GPU mineable coins. Just based on the fact that I feel or I felt good at the time that they were going to go up because of the community aspect, especially for the ones who actually followed through on their plans and ended up being legitimate, right? Because even if they don't get to the point where, they crack the top 100 or something, even if they just crack the top 200, okay, there was a lot of upside potential in these coins, and they were fairly cheap at the time, right? So even though with KASPA, even though I really just started mining it a few weeks ago, I've been accruing it. Like I bought my bag, the majority of my bag back in October. Okay, same with like Radiant, and same with NEXA. Okay, I bought these a while back, and I pretty much guesstimated, calculated like if I were to mine it for 6 months, how much would I waste in electrical, and pretty much made a purchase on that on a dip. Okay, so that way I was able to take benefit of the price action that's happening right now. Okay, did I see this kind of price action happening, especially from like KASPA? No. Is it nice? Heck yeah, and it's validating everything, right? So again, everybody has different strategies, and you have to just go with yours and what makes more sense to you. But now that I'm going to be able to accrue more by mining it versus buying it, I'm definitely going to be mining it, right? So again, you have to kind of go make up your game plan, make your strategy, and go with it, right? Get different ideas, and that's kind of the point of these videos, just to have different talking points, and you can see what strategies work, what doesn't work, and what makes most sense to you, because at the end of the day, it's your strategy. There's no wrong or right here, okay? It's all on you, and what do you think makes the most sense in your head, right? So let's take a look. So again, the big thing was that there's so many that are profitable, right? Even on a 3070, we have NEXA, Radiant, KASPA, Alphium, Dynex, Conflux. All of these are currently profitable, okay? And that's what has people so excited right now. The one thing, though, to definitely keep in mind is to see the commonality in all these coins. And it's the fact that none of these are really committed to GPU mining, okay? All of these so far look like they're going to go that traditional route where they're GPU mine now. They're going FPGA route, as we know with KASPA, and pretty sure Radiant next are going to be next, and then eventually ASICs. Okay, so also keep that in mind. Like, yes, GPU mining is profitable now, but we will see how long that will remain as these FPGAs come out and as these bit streams get developed for these coins. Because that's pretty much what people are waiting for, right? Because the FPGAs are out there. People are now just waiting for bit streams to be released, and then that's going to change things quite a bit, right? So you have to keep that in mind, because although these are all profitable, keep in mind, like I said, that these are all core intensive algorithms that are going to benefit greatly from FPGAs. Okay, because as we go down to the ones who are more GPU committed, things aren't looking as rosy still, right? We look at Flux, it's still at a negative. Ravencoin, ETC, right? So those are still at a loss. Ergo's slightly at break even, and that's good, right? But also a big portion of this is because of the pump in these guys up here, right? If these guys weren't here, or when these guys go away, let's say, you know, FPGAs and ASICs start coming out by this summer, things are going to change quite a bit, right? So you have to also factor those things in. And that's also the reason that I'm mining now, right? Because we may not have a whole lot of time left depending on the timeline for this new hardware to come out, okay? Because at this point, it can happen at any time. We're already seeing it with KASPA. As more FPGAs become available, then it's just going to be what happens, right? So that is something you got to factor in, especially if you're thinking about getting more hardware, okay? If you're thinking about buying GPUs, which I'm still kind of on the fence about. We'll talk about it here in a second. So we are getting more good news on that front as well. Mainly being is that we're finally getting releases for cards that a lot of people have been waiting for. Mainly being the lower end 4000 series. So we finally do have release dates for the 4070, and it looks like the 4060 Ti is rumored to come out the following month. Okay, these are two big cards a lot of people have been waiting for, because they've been waiting to see the price points to see where they upgrade from, right? There's a lot of people who were on the fence who still have, you know, 2000 series cards or 1600 series cards that have been waiting, especially gamers, not necessarily miners. Miners aren't really here yet because the prices are so high. But the reason it's important for miners is because as people decide to jump to these guys, right, if the prices are somewhat reasonable, like the 4070 we now know is going to be $599, which is a little bit higher than I'd hoped for us to see like cheaper cards. If it would have came in at $499 and then the 4060 Ti at $399, I definitely 100% would expect a reduction in like 3080s, 3070s because of that. Because people would skip that gen and just go right to the 4000 series. But the fact that these are 600, which is slightly better than what people are expecting. The rumor mill was like 650, 700. So 600 is a bit better, right? So I do expect the possibility of cards to go down, especially like 3080s. Because I think that's going to be the comparison, especially once we see like gaming reviews comparisons from the 4070 and the 3080. Okay, because people are going to be, especially gamers, they're going to be looking at the 4070 more just because it has more VRAM. And it's up to 12 gigs versus the 10 gigs on the older 3080, right? As we've been seeing with certain games, they're starting to need essentially that 12 gigabytes plus, right? So if that does happen, then there is the possibility for cheaper 3080s and then cheaper 3070s, cheaper 3060 Ti's as gamers upgrade to these cards and sell their 3000 series cards or completely pass on them, meaning that more supply is there and hopefully prices go down a bit more. Because ultimately, since these releases, since these announcements, really, just in the past 2 weeks alone, I have seen a good drop, right? Just checking out like eBay and such, I've been seeing the 3070s down in like the 300, 310, 320 range, which even just like 2, 3 weeks ago, the lowest I've seen was about 340 as an average. Okay, even with the 3060 Ti's, I've been seeing them 260, 270 now, which again, a few weeks ago, they were 300 plus, and they've been in that range essentially since the merge, right? But I think finally now, once these guys release, hopefully we do get some more drops, and that way it'll look better, right? So now the question is, again, I know this is financial advice, I'm just letting you know my game plan and where my thought process is. So am I buying more GPUs right now? Not yet. Unless I find those super cheap deals. Like if I find 3060 Ti's like at 200, same with 3070, somewhere in that ballpark, I will be jumping on it. Have they gone that low yet? Not really. There's been a couple of deals here and there. Like if you go through the buy nows on eBay, you have seen some that were sniped, that were picked up real quick, that maybe weren't in the best condition or needed new fans or something like that. But overall, that price trend hasn't gone down low enough. Okay, two reasons. Number one being that all these newer coins being core intensive, it's kind of hard to tell where the trends are going, especially right now with all the changes coming. There's a lot of stuff going on in the GPU mining world, not just these core intensive algorithms, but what's coming in the future, right? As we all know, towards the end of this year, Q3, Q4, we're going to see proof of useful work really coming out from Flux, and that's going to change things, right? We're going to want cards with more VRAM, especially with all these AI things. We're going to see more marketplaces, things like render, things of that sort. So there may be different avenues and different requirements as far as what's considered better for profitability in the future. Okay, and then that's only one spectrum. The other spectrum is going to be with all these zero knowledge proofs coming out. Okay, with like Ironfish coming out, Aleo coming out, and all the other ones. There's a lot of projects that are going to be coming out, and those requirements are going to be different. Okay, we starting to see which algorithms are going to be where. Like with Ironfish, we know it's Blake 3, which is more core intensive. So these are things we got to factor in, and things I'm kind of waiting for a bit, right? I'm going to kind of wait until the 4070 releases, the 4060 Ti, and kind of look at what prices are like in the summer, right? To see what trends are heading, see maybe if we get some real spec sheets on the proof of useful work from Flux, or what other projects, or what happens with Dynex, because they're kind of going in that route as well, just to see, right? Because at the end of the day, these memory intensive algorithms that we are used to, right, such as Ergo, Ravencoin, right now they're not profitable, and they may not be profitable for quite a while, right? And by the time they are profitable, prices may be even lower, right? So there's a lot of things to consider. So me personally, I'm more on the fence. I'm going to wait a little bit longer. If I get real cheap prices though, I'm going to jump on it, right? But as far as like looking at the prices now, am I jumping on the prices now? No, I'm waiting for them to go lower and just kind of waiting to see what direction we end up going in, right? And my situation's also a little bit different just because I did diversify, right? For those of you guys who have been watching, I primarily started as a GPU miner, and I've been diversifying into ASICs. So essentially, I sold rigs and pretty much sold them for an ASIC, right? Pretty much one-to-one. And that has been my strategy. And initially, it was just going to be one, right? But I ended up going almost completely ASIC, right? I'm down to my last rig. I have about a 12 card rig and like 2 or 3 extra cards, right? So I still have all my other hardware. I have my, my motherboards and power adapters and such power supplies, but I'm just kind of holding off, right? Because it's hard to tell where it's going to go, especially with this like proof of useful work and the whole requirement where these, 1x risers probably won't be working. We're going to need different setups. Octominer releasing that new server setup. So there's a lot of things in the pipeline, a lot of things to consider before I jump into buying more hardware, right? So that's just my outlook on it. Again, everybody does their own thing, but those are the things I'm looking at. So now let's change topics again. Let's look at the price action, right? And this is part of the reason people are so excited, and this is part of the reason that I'm super excited by this too, right? So the biggest thing for me has been because of how much KASPA has gone up. To me, this is the clear winner for the new set of GPU mineable coins. Or let's say mineable coins, because it's not going to be only GPU mineable. As we know, eventually it'll be ASICs. It's already FPGAs, and they'll go to ASICs. But to me, this is going to be the clear-cut winner and the the possible chosen one that might actually crack the top 50, the top 20, and go up there and beyond, right? Will it do it now? Maybe, maybe not, maybe in the bull market, right? We have to really see, but it has gone up significantly. It's not a small coin anymore. Everybody has this mindset. A lot of this is because of this reason, actually. On CoinMarketCap, they have it ranked as 212. It's been in the 200 for quite a while. It's really not. I don't know what it is with CoinMarketCap. I don't know if they have some kind of like preference or what it is, but if you base it off the market cap, which is what it's supposed to be based on, it should be a lot higher. Okay, we look at the market cap, it's over 500 million. Okay, and we go to CoinGecko, which is probably what we're going to switch to because theirs is more accurate. Theirs is in line where it should be. Okay, basing it purely off the market cap, it is ranked at number 86, which is where it should be even on CMC. Why they don't have it updated? I was giving it maybe a couple of days because it's been up here. It's been way higher than what it should be for quite a while. Hasn't been just because of this recent pump. It's been quite a while actually that it hasn't been correctly ranked. So a lot of people are still in that mindset that it's a smaller coin and it still has, 10x potential easily. Probably not so much, right? Just because as we know, as that market cap gets bigger, it gets harder and harder for it to increase, right? Like for it to 2x from here, it has to go to a $1 billion market cap, right? For it to reach that 6 cent mark, which is it doable? Yeah, sure, of course, right? It can continue to go up, but it just becomes more difficult, right? So especially in comparison to the other coin that people are hyped on, and this is the one that's actually most profitable, which is NEXA. Okay, if we look on CoinMarketCap, they finally updated it a bit better here. It had been in like 1600 or something like that for quite a while. So they have it ranked at number 422, and it's 440 on CoinGecko. So this is probably about where it should be at. And this, to me, is one that does have more potential because the market cap is so much smaller, right? It's at about 48 million. So it's literally about a tenth, right? So if it were to catch up where KASPA is currently, it still has a 10x potential from here. And this is considering the fact that it just freaking 2x, it just doubled from a few days ago, right? March 29th, it's literally doubled since then, right? So factor that in also, okay? So these are things you got to consider when you're thinking about what to mine, right? You have to think, are you more of a trader? Are you going to look at it short term? Because short term wise, it may make more sense to mine things like that are smaller cap, that are like NEXA. Do you really believe it in it for the long term though? Is it one you're gonna hold all the way till 2025? Me personally, probably not. Right? Again, my strategy is I bought little bags, right? Kind of just in anticipation to kind of wait for the summer and see who's kind of proving to be the next clear-cut winner. Which for me, I'm already decided. Like for me, it's definitely going to be KASPA. So even though in the short term, it's going to take a lot for it to 2x, I think in the bull market, when it really, really matters, they do have the potential to crack that top 20. They do have definitely, potentially, again, none of this is financial advice, to do another 10x in the bull market. Right now, probably not, right? But I think realistically, that to me is the clear-cut winner, okay? But in the short term, these smaller cap coins do have that potential, right? So these are things you got to factor in when you're deciding what to mine, okay? Because as we look at the others, and these other guys have been doing well also, right? We look at Alephium, we look at their 3-month chart, and look at that. That's crazy. Just a month ago, right? From 1 month ago, it was at 8 cents. We're at 34 cents. It's done a 4x since then, okay? Even Radiant, ultimately, it's been pumping, right? It has been kind of all over the place. Especially we look at the 1 month chart. We had this consistent dip down here, and it's been going up. And it's another one that's solid, right? That's been proven. I think it's not going to be a rug at this point. Am I bullish on it long term? Not really, right? Did I buy a little bag just in case? Yeah. Did I buy a little bag of NEXA just in case? Yeah. Am I going to hold on to it long term? Probably not. Okay, because now that I'm kind of seeing the clear-cut winner, as soon as it makes sense to transition, I will most likely be dumping my NEXA and my Radiant and converting it to NEXA when it makes sense, right? When there's a nice pump from here. Will I do all of it? Probably not. Maybe half the bag and just transition it over. Okay, because at this point, my mind's been pretty much made up and I'm where it's at just because KASPA has done so well, right? It's freaking in the top 100. It's number 86. It's not a joke anymore. It's not a speculative play. It's there, man. It's ahead of Flux. It's ahead of Ergo. It's ahead of all these other even like ASIC coins. It's ahead of CKB. It's ahead of KDA. It's legit, man. It's here, and hopefully it stays, right? Let's look at Dynex, and even they have been going up, right? Ultimately, look at that 7-day chart, 1-month chart is crazy looking. Okay, same thing was at 7 cents. It's at 12 cents. It's almost double since then. Okay, yet giving us even more options, and this is what has me bullish on it, and I think this is what has everybody excited. Okay, it's just the fact that so many coins we have actual options now. Okay, and that way the hash rate does spread out a bit. That way it's not all concentrated on one coin that's pumping, and then the difficulty goes up, and then it's game over, right? So those are some things to consider. Now let's look at KASPA's market cap and why it's important. Okay, if you haven't seen this website, it's a pretty cool website to kind of make like future-based predictions that can be realistic, right? So pretty much all it's doing, it's comparing market caps to other coins, but it just makes it super easy with their site. Okay, and this is a way you can kind of don't like doing this too much because these are like those moon boyish predictions, but at the same time you do have to give yourself realistic reminders of what can potentially happen and why you're even investing in these coins, right? I tend to try to be as more realistic as possible. I'm not a big fan of these like moon boy predictions, but you do got to look at it in different lights, right? You have to look at the lows, at the worst case scenario, and the best case scenarios, right? That way you have a realistic prediction. So pretty much what it does, again, it just compares it to the market cap of something else. So if we take it and let's say it were to crack the top, let's say it doubles, right? We know it's a $500 million market cap. Let's say it goes up to $1 billion, right? Where would that put it at? Where would it have to reach? It would have to crack the top 50. So at this point, for it to 2x, right, for it to go up to about 6 cents, it would have to crack the top 50. Is that doable? Sure. Is it going to be difficult? Also, yes, right? Now let's say it were to crack, let's say it had a crazy run and it cracks the top 20, right? It would have to reach a $4 billion market cap, and that would make it about a 7x. Okay, so these are the things you have to factor in, that although it's possible for it to do a 7x here in the next year or so, is it super likely for it to crack the top 20? In the bear market, not necessarily, right? Especially comparing to NEXA, that it's currently about a tenth of KASPA. So for it to reach the top 100, it could do that 10x, right? So I think it would be more realistic if you're looking for that like high percentage play. You're gonna be more likely, at least in the short term, with one of these projects, right? And these are things you gotta factor in. Do I really see it happening with NEXA? Am I that bullish on NEXA? Not a whole lot, right? Am I bullish on KASPA? Yes, especially in the long term. Again, these predictions or these numbers are based more short term in the next like 6 months to a year, but I'm holding all of my KASPA till 2025, okay? And then we can do some realistic numbers there. Even if it doesn't reach the crazy potential that we hope, I think at worst case scenario, it will be able to reach what Cadena did back in, let's look at it, see if we can pull it up. What Cadena did in the bull market in 2021. So if you haven't messed with this is from the Wayback Machine, and it's pretty much an internet archive. It's like cached versions of websites. So you can go back to specific dates and look at it, right? So it's a pretty interesting way to look back. Like I have it set up. So this is for November 13th of 2021, which was around the peak of Cadena. And the reason I'm picking Cadena as far as like comparing market cap is that at this time when it pumped, it was pure speculation, right? It was pretty much just a fast, scalable proof of work. So just based off of that premise, I think that's the reason why it reached what it did, right? And as with KASPA, we can see that it's definitely at that point because it's crazy fast, crazy scalable, and it's proof of work, okay? So in that sense, I would compare it. Not saying that they're completely different projects, completely different technologies, but just based on the speculative factor that it's a fast proof of work coin, even if that's all it reaches by the time of the bull market, even if smart contracts are live, but they don't really have many dApps, they don't really have much going on. Just based off of that alone, I think at bare minimum, it would reach this market cap, right? Which at the time, when it reached this 20 something, it made it a $3.6 billion market cap, okay? So now if we punch that into this guy, we can see a somewhat realistic number for it to reach in the bull market, okay? We'll put it a little bit higher. Link is at 3.9, so we can put it there. So realistically, I can see a 6x happening, okay, at bare minimum. Realistically, though, you got to consider that that was at that time. Our overall predictions are for the overall crypto market cap is to at least double at that point, right? Potentially making it closer to like a $7 billion market cap if it were to reach just Kadina's height, right? So now let's look at that number. What would that look like at a $7 billion market cap? Okay. We'll put it at LTCs actually. So it'd be an 11x. One other thing to factor in though that we can change here, which is also kind of cool, because with KASPA, they have a very aggressive emissions rate. Okay, so one other thing we can factor in just to make it even a little bit more accurate is we can put in what we think the total supply will be at that time. So again, this is for 2025. Okay, so if we look at their emissions rate, we look at 2025, let's just pick a random month, we'll pick April. It's about 25 billion. So this is another interesting with KASPA is the fact that the majority of the coins will be minted at this point. Okay, that's something that's super, super interesting. It's super, super different from also the other projects, right? But anyways, let's put in that coin, that circulating supply. So we'll update it from being 17, which is the current, because again, this is a projection for 2025. And we'll put it at that 25 billion. So that does change things quite a bit because now there's more coins, right? So this puts it at about a 7.5x from where we're at currently, right? So just something to think about. Does that guarantee this is going to happen? No. Is this something that I think will probably happen? Yes. Can it be better than this? Yes. Can it be worse than this? Also yes. But I think this is a somewhat realistic prediction for the future and something you got to understand when you're looking at KASPA. I know all of us have it in our head that KASPA is a super tiny coin and it's going to 50x from here. But because of its growth already, guys, you have to kind of temper your expectations a bit and look at it. Is this still really good, especially for those of us who bought or have been mining since October or even earlier? Shout out to all of you guys who listened to Son of a Tech and started mining it over the summer, because you guys are doing really well and you're going to continue to do well. I know just since I purchased since October, it's done like a 12x or 15x or something like that. It's crazy, right? But overall, just wanted to give you, in case you haven't seen this site, something to think about and how you got to look at it for future projections, right? It's a pretty cool, pretty interesting site. You can manipulate the values. You can use it, obviously not just for KASPA. This is for any coins. I don't know if small market, I don't know, is NEXA on here? Oh, NEXA actually is on here. So you can even do it with like NEXA and such, right? So you can make your own kind of predictions. You can kind of see, of course, if you put it against, like, if it reaches BTCs, it'd be a freaking 10th. I wouldn't. Don't get too crazy with it, is all I'm saying. Is be realistic, look at previous history, and you can base it off of that. You have something to base off of. But again, also, you got to be realistic if this project is going to make it. Like, to me, KASPA has essentially already made it. They're in the top 100, as it's about as legit as it gets. So I'm comfortable making these bull market predictions versus these others. Not necessarily so much, especially not with NEXA, not with Radiant. But again, will I be mining them and will I be profiting them short term? Sure. Is it possible that I mine that and just sell them by KASPA? That's the most likely scenario, right? But again, these are just some things to think about, guys. I know it's super exciting with GPU mining, and I'm excited overall. I know some of it sounded a little bit negative, but I'm here. It looks like it's going to be profitable for quite a while, hopefully. We'll see what happens if we do have a retracement or a dump here sometime in the next few months. And that'll be a really good gauge, right? But overall, shout out to all of you guys who've been mining since January or before, because made a really, really good decision, right? So whether you were mining or you were buying them at the time like I was, we're doing pretty well right now, right? So just some things to factor in, guys. Know a lot of excitement's happening, and hopefully it continues, right? GPU mining, I think this was a good reminder that it's not dead. I know a lot of people have been saying, it's dead, it's never going to come back, and blah, blah, blah. Now we see, right? For those of you who were doubting, everybody got that little spark like, oh, yeah, it's not dead, right? All right, guys, so hopefully you got some value from the video. Please comment, guys. Let me know if you started mining or if you started mining a while back, right? Let me know how you're doing, what you're into, what you're seeing, what you're looking at. So, guys, again, please comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, guys, and I am out.